So have you been catching any of the U.S. Open at all?
No, I haven't. I mean, I was listening to the PGA radio on the way in, and they were talking about Rory, like shooting in the 30s one day and 40s the next day. And I'm thinking, yeah, I know how he feels.
Yeah, I think he turned a 35 or a 34 on the front. I think he shot like 40, 41 on the back.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But you could see that, you know, if you just got, you know, here's the fairway and here's the rough, you got into that. I mean, you're just hacking outside.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. The USJ is trying to, quote unquote, identify the best golfer, but
Yeah.
at some point it just becomes circus golf. You know
Yeah,
what I
right.
mean?
Yeah,
You know, it's
yeah.
just putt to the clown's mouth.
Yeah, well, you know, I was up in Illinois there for a week, and I got to play up there, and this course at Adele Webb, it's really crazy because it's a very difficult course, and then the par fives are really long, and you always got to go over water, so you get your first shot is about, you can go about 220, 230, which I can hit my driver for that, and most of the time be well short of that. And then you got to go over and make a decent shot about a maybe 150, 160. You don't want to go any further than that because you got to do a 90-degree dead, left. But anyway, it's a hard course just because of all that. And then they have the St. Andrews, everywhere off the fairway is very high grass. And so but I go out the first day, I shoot at 83.
Oh, wow.
I'm living large, man,
Yeah,
playing
good.
with people I don't even know, and they're all like, oh, man, Then the next, I play a couple days later, same course, I played it 3 times. I shoot a 93, and then the third time I shot at 87.
Okay.
But I was like, man, the first day I was just hitting my marks, doing everything I needed to do. And then the next time I go out, I'm like, I can't do anything. Damn it.
It's a tough game at times, isn't it? It's a humbling sport, that's
Yeah.
for sure, man. It's a very humbling sport.
It is. Well, and I'm playing with people that are not as good as what I play. I like playing with people that are better because they can usually point out something I'm doing to struggle.
Yeah.
But then when you're playing with people that really don't know golf very well, they're real no help to you.
Well, the other thing I find when you're playing with people that aren't so good is that you find yourself looking for other people's balls.
Yeah.
And especially rough like that, you're
Sure.
like,
Oh,
and it
yeah.
just gets you out of the rhythm.
Get you out of the rhythm. Yeah, that's a good point because there was a lot of that. Yes, for sure.
That just, it's part of the game, but not my favorite part of it. Let's put it that way.
going left.
Get a couple more here. Get yourself good and loose. Here. All right. Any questions before we begin, Mike, or anything like that?
Well, no, I mean, some of them felt okay. That last one felt pretty good. Oh, but yeah, sometimes I do have a problem with pulling them, you know. And I think of those last few, I was just making a conscious effort. One, I know already there's two things lately that I found myself doing that are really killing me. One is I'm freaking gripping the club with a death grip.
Okay.
And I finally figured out that, you know, just to kind of relax and take an easy swing instead of really I'm standing up here just freaking,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
And it's just killing any kind of speed or anything that I can get. And then the second thing that I did, what else did I figure out? What was that? Oh, the other thing is that I'm overswinging. So I went to the range the other day and I was just trying, you know, like you say, little half swings.
Mm-hmm.
And it was much better than me with my, you know, because I can easily get into the really rearing up, you know, and breaking my swing, you know, breaking it down. Of course, I get way back here like this. So I kind of figured a couple of those things out, of course, late in the round, always, but.
Well, it's better late than never, right?
Yeah.
Better late than never.
It is.
You want to grab the driver and we'll take a look at that?
Yeah.
That's really working here today.
Yeah, it's the only problem with these mats, you know. I was thinking to myself, I'm surprised they haven't come up with a mat that you can stick your own tee into. I mean, I know that sometimes they have that little thing that raises up, and sometimes you can do that, but
They
you
do.
know,
I mean, I think you sort of can, or you probably used to be able to. I think it's just been kind of beat to death.
well, like even at Lexington Oaks, you know,
See, you can.
well, that one's okay.
Yeah, I mean, you could kind of put it in the ground there. Let's see. All right, it's just been kind of mashed up at
that's
this
the thing.
area right
It's
here.
getting
that's
the ball. Yeah, it's getting the ball. Because I was trying it at Lexington Oaks. You know, they have the mats like these, and I was just like, God dang, man, you know, you got to be able to come up with something where you could still use the mat and put your tee in.
Yeah.
You know, because you're right, the tee went in, but then the ball would always tip over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just been kind of beat up, I think. And
Oh, that's a terrible one.
so describe to me what's been going on with the driver. Has that been kind of the typical miss
Oh,
there,
it's, you know, it's all over.
All over,
It's
okay.
all over. You know, obviously the most frustrating ones are the tops or the coming down and shooting them straight up, right?
Kinda like that right there?
Even that one you can live with a little bit, but that's more of a pop up, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, you know, it's coming down like with that iron shot.
Mm-hmm. Give me one here and we'll take a look on video, all right, my man?
Just like that. That was a pop up.
Angle of attack was down. Yeah, okay, let's take a look at that. That's a good one to compare. All right. All right, as we look at this,
Yeah, my head way back, and then I'll slide towards it. You know,
the big thing I see here, at least with our arm structure, you can see
Way
the
back.
way back, right? I'd like to see this left arm a little bit straighter,
For
not
sure.
getting so deep behind us. We've talked about that before, right? And you can kind of see we just got that angle of attack down
yeah,
just a little bit. You can kind of see where Justin here, he's keeping that head back behind that circle just a little bit more than you are.
Yeah.
You're kind of getting that head just a little bit ahead,
yeah,
right? And then we just kind of, we get right here and we kind of throw the club a little bit. You know, just kind of release the hands a little bit. It'd be a great wedge shot out of the bunker, right? But on the driver, it's not so good, is it? Okay. So let's kind of start with this just a little bit. Let's start with, go ahead and set up to a ball. Let's take a look at our setup and make sure that we're all good there. Okay. And we'll take a look at our grip, make sure that's good, which I'm assuming it is. Okay, so I'm going to bring in this little thing here, kind of help us just a little bit. So I'm going to kind of get that in line with the wood. Alright, so just make sure that's there. Good position. Okay, so let's get our left foot to this wood area right there. Okay, good. And then get this guy back over here. Okay, so you're set up just a little bit more behind the ball now. You see that?
yeah.
Okay, that's going to help us a little bit, right? Now the other thing that we're going to kind of do here just a little bit to kind of really get that feel, and I'm not going to worry about the ball. I'm going to put this under your left foot. So go ahead and put your foot on top of that. Okay. Good. So now you really, you're going to get forced to go back a little bit more, right? Okay. So I'm just going to take this guy on out of here. Okay. And I just want you to kind of take some swings here, just a little bit, and get a feel for that. All right. Right. The big thing that we want to try to achieve with the driver, right, or at least for today, is try to get our low point back behind the ball,
Yeah.
right, where we can start to launch up on it instead of kind of hitting down on it and get that little pop up off the top of the club. Now go ahead and swing on back for me and get to the top. Okay, so we need to be kind of more up here just a little bit. Give me just a little soft flex with that arm. There you go, okay? Now remember, the main goal that we want to try to do is keep our hands as far away from our head as humanly possible, okay, without getting this guy locked up right here. We can definitely see in the video that you get like this a little bit, and that club gets right here. And that's what kind of helps you kind of throw that club down to the bottom just a little bit, okay? So we want to kind of think of the idea of width in the swing. Yep, right? All right, at this point, it might just feel like it's shoulder high or up to our right ear, and that's fine for right now. Yeah. So let's try to put some of these things together, okay? So I'm going to put this guy in line with this. Okay, we're going to keep with our setup there. Okay. Now what I'm going to kind of have you do here, just a little bit. Go ahead, set up for me. Okay. Now I'm going to get you to kind of move your club head back to about here. So I want everything to feel like it's centered right here to this point. Does that make sense? Okay. So it's going to feel like, and the theory is that this will be acting as our low point here, and as I start to continue through, my club head will start to go up.
For sure.
Okay? Let's just give it a small swing and see what we do, okay? And see what our feels are. Okay? So as far as what I could see here, this is the lowest low point that we've had, and it's just 0.2, so that's a good start for what we're trying to do. Instead of having that attack angle at 1 or 2 degrees down, right, it's 0.2, so it's getting us moving in the right direction. Okay. So let me just get your foot just a little bit more on there. Okay. All right. There you go, just a little bit, right? Good. Good.
Way after. It's hard to do that far back.
So let's kind of do this. Just go ahead and set up to the thing. Okay, good. Good. Feel like you're there. Just gonna get you there, just a little bit. Okay. I just feel like we kind of turn back a little bit. Give me a swing. Yeah, there you go. Okay. All right, so we got before the ball, right? Look at our spin rate, much more down, right? Path was good. Good stuff right there, okay?
Yeah.
Did you get kind of a feel for that a little bit?
No.
Okay, that's fair enough. That is definitely fair enough. Let's keep going. That's why we do this. All right, here we go. Okay, set up. So you're going to feel like you're kind of back just a little bit. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to turn behind the ball, right? And then we've got ourselves to turn so far back behind the ball we can kind of get that aggression, right, and moving into the ball a little bit better, right, instead of getting and not get ahead of it. Yeah, that's what it's going to feel like for us right now. Okay, good. So I'm going to try to take this guy out. Okay? I'm going to try to let you get some feels here. Okay? All right. So you feel how we get you kind of, yeah, so your sternum and everything feels like it's loaded up back over here, right? Okay. Let's take a look at that guy, okay? All right. It goes back just a little bit, right? But the big thing is you're keeping your head in that little area now,
Yeah.
right? Where before the other picture, your head was getting ahead of that circle.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's making changes. Okay. All right, so we're still getting a little bit of a slide.
Yeah.
Okay. And the hands are still getting a little bit stuck back behind us, just a little bit, right? So we want to kind of feel like, you know, and I'm sure I've told you this before, right? But I want to feel like if there were, you know, beams of light out on my shoulders, right? I want to feel like my hands stay inside that beam of light, right? That would kind of be getting into the light a little bit. Wouldn't you kind of agree?
Yeah.
Okay. And that just takes time and kind of having that visual, mental in our head, mental, visual. But good job of staying back behind the ball now. Okay, you see how your sternum, you've got a little bit of this tilt here instead of the shoulders going the other way?
Yeah.
Okay. What questions do you have about that video?
Well, well, I mean, in comparison, right? Yeah, when he first brings it back, it's like if you stop it there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, his is pretty straight there, and so is mine. But he's way up here with his hands, where mine's kind of more back here.
Yeah.
He's way up.
All right. So.
Out. So like his hands would be about here.
Mm-hmm.
Mine are way down here, about shoulder height, which, yeah, I was trying to not overswing, you know, I was trying to take like a half swing, but
Yeah.
even still, it should be, you know, more, I would say about here. They're
Mhm.
getting too close, I'm getting them too close to my chest.
Yeah. We definitely want to have the feeling that our hands are staying as far away from our right ear as possible.
Yeah.
Right? That's the thing that they talk about, wanting to make sure that we keep our width with our hands and everything like that. Because that's where our speeds, that's another speed indicator, right?
Yeah,
If I can keep that same circle.
Yeah,
Right.
because he looks like he's, you know, he's got a much better path to the ball, stronger path to the ball, where I'm going to end up throwing my hands out here at the end and kind of throwing the club in.
Correct.
I can see it, yeah.
Correct. So as we come on through here, right?
He's bringing his.
All right, he's bringing his down as you're starting to kind of get some lateral shift and kind of turning through a little bit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this elbow stays a lot closer on his body. Mine's
Yeah.
kind of chicken winging a little bit.
Yeah, you can see right here, your right elbow is in a more stuck position
Yeah,
or
he's-
outside of your right hip.
Yeah, his is in closer. Yeah.
Correct, correct. And that's probably, you know, it's two parts, right? Our left arm's kind of collapsed a little bit and we've gotten our arm structure so deep behind us.
Yeah.
Right, it's back over here. So as you start to rotate and turn aggressively, that guy gets behind us a little bit. So if I could get more of the idea, right, of, you know, as I said, getting that beam of light and get here, right? And if I said, hey, I got a big medicine ball, right? And throw it into the ground,
Yeah.
right? That's more of what we kind of see with Justin Rose here. But for you, it'd be kind of like this,
Yeah.
right? If I said, hey, throw a ball, you'd be kind of like this.
Yep.
Okay, so let me kind of do this with you real quick. Or let me just kind of demonstrate here. So if I got you here, right? And I said, hey, I want to swing up to the top. I want,
Yeah.
right? That's more the motion that we'd like to have instead of kind of getting here like this and then it's,
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So here, I'll let you kind of throw the bag one time here and get a feel for that. All right. So if we got up to the top with that bag, right? Now I want you to throw it hard into the ground.
Yeah.
Okay? That's more of the motion that we need to kind of have a little bit.
Yeah.
All right? Trying to keep that elbow down, right? Boom. Yeah. All right? Now you see how your elbow's working in front of you there?
Yeah.
Okay? That's where we kind of need to be, right? That's going to keep us behind the ball a little bit. It's going to keep that lag that we're looking for longer into our swing. All right? So, just some of those things we got to work on, right?
Yeah.
Okay? But the big thing is, as I said, is trying to make sure that we feel like we're staying behind the ball, right? And making sure that we feel like we're launching up on it, right?
Yeah.
Right? We used to talk about, pulling on a bell,
Yeah.
right? Or, having something like that. And maybe we just get kind of a ball or something like that and we kind of start getting used to throwing that thing.
Yeah.
But, when we see all these guys, right, you can kind of see that, right, when they get up to the top, right, his arms are going straight down.
Yeah.
Right? See how that medicine ball will be going right into the ground right there?
Yeah.
And the feeling is, and this is not exactly what happens, but the feeling is that we're keeping our back to the target as our arms are coming down. Now we're actually rotating a little bit too, right? But the feeling is that, and this is a feel, not real, right? Is that the feeling is I've got my back to the target as I'm doing this,
Yeah.
right? But in reality, it's kind of more like this,
Sure.
right? There's a little rotation that's going on with that as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now the other thing that we can kind of see here pretty blatantly, right, is a little bit of that lateral slide,
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
right? So, as we start to move our head away here like this, then it's going to be kind of tough. We got to get that lateral slide to get back to it a little bit. Okay. So with something like that, let's just kind of give you a feel here, right, with that. So first part, right, we want to feel like we're setting up behind it. Okay, the other part, we need to keep that arm structure out and away from our head a little bit, right? And we got to kind of turn and rotate a little bit. So if I got like a little ball like this, right here, okay, and I said, hey, we got to keep that ball against the wall as I turn and rotate, it'd be kind of more like this.
Yeah.
Okay. Now this ball's not the best for that, but what we start to get instead of having that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Does that give you a good visual right there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, big guy. Let's see if I can get some. All right. Now that I've got your head all good and screwed up with a lot of swing thoughts.
Yeah. I think one of the big things that I'm, at least, I don't want to say focus on, because then if I'm thinking during the swing, it's not going to be good. But if I can keep this elbow in front, instead of letting it get way back here,
Yeah.
just if I can just keep it in front, I think that'll be a good step forward.
So here's a good visual to kind of help you with your elbow. Let me kind of do this real quick. So I'm going to put this right along your toe line. Okay. So as you take the club back for me, okay, I want you to start off shaft parallel and then get this left arm parallel to that shaft on the ground.
Yeah.
Okay. If you do that, it's going to keep your arms in a good position. We can see in the video it would be much more like
Back
this.
here. Sure.
Right? Your arm structure will be like that.
Yeah.
All right. So we want to try to keep that left arm along this line right here when we're, halfway back or so. Now we're going to turn a little bit more up to the top, but we don't want to get back over here.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Just give that a couple feels. Yeah. There you go. Now you're keeping those arms in front of your chest a little bit, and that will help drive that elbow back down in front of us. Okay, so let's take this stuff on out. And we're just gonna hit 3 balls and try to work on it, okay?
Yep.
Feel like we're setting it behind that ball, good. Just a little bit after. One more for me. Let's take a look at that guy real quick. Okay. Much better job with the arm structure. Okay, you're keeping those hands out and away from your head, which is good.
Yeah.
Okay. Still getting a little bit of a lateral shift here, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Doing better at keeping that head in the hub. Okay. Right elbow isn't as stuck. I don't see the big gap that we saw before, but it's still getting a little bit stuck behind us just a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. I would like to kind of see when you get to this point, chest starting to kind of open up a little bit and the hands being a little bit lower like we kind of see with Justin here.
Yeah. And he is really, like, if you go back just about the impact of the ball, there, well, maybe a little further, there. It just seems like his arm here, so he's behind the thing, right? His head's dropped back here, and I can't almost see my hand, but it just seems like when he follows through, he's got more of the wrist, going towards his back, where mine is kind of staying almost where it's at.
Yeah.
So if we keep going just a little bit, yeah. So there, I can see the back of his hand. Here, I'm kind of seeing more of the side of my hand.
So he's getting a lot more forearm rotation, right?
Yeah.
So if you look at the pocket of his elbow, it's pointing up,
Yeah.
right? Yours is pointing towards the camera.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I can see, yes, he's more like that. I'm more like this.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Right? Now the big thing that we can see here, right, and unjustly I'm comparing you to Justin Rose, who's probably one of the best ball strikers of our time.
Sure.
Look how much his hips have opened and rotated.
Yeah.
Now that's talent, one.
Yeah.
That's a lot of training, two. Okay? But he's really allowing his hips to rotate, his head to stay back, and his arms to feel like they're really extending through as he stays back.
Yes.
Right? Where you kind of have more of that feeling of kind of staying on top of it, getting our elbow kind of here like this, and then you can kind of see that pocket of our elbow is pointing towards the camera, where his is kind of starting to get more over.
Yeah, yeah. I don't end up like that. I end up like this.
Yeah. Right? So, the feeling or the idea, right, or the saying is, the toe of the club goes left.
Yeah.
Right? So you can see that club face is probably pointing over towards his Dubai sign right now.
Yes.
Where yours is probably, we can't see it because it's but I would venture to guess it's probably pointing more straight or maybe even out to the right a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
So this takes time, right? But it would be, a great drill for that feeling, right, is that we want to get back to the point where, and this is just stretch and mobility, right, at this point, but getting our head back behind this, right, and really feeling like I open up my hips and rotate and keep my head behind a little bit.
Yeah.
Right, so that would be more of what we kind of see with Justin Rose,
Right.
right, where we would kind of see more like this with you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I see that. Yeah.
let's come on over here and give that a feel just for a sec, right? So let's just kind of, if you kind of come on over here, right, let's just get our heads slightly up against the wall here,
Yeah.
arms across our chest, and really what we want to do is we want to work on our hips rotating open and trying to keep our head going the other way just a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. And that, as I said, that's just stretch and mobility and time,
Yeah.
right? So there, right? And then really feel like your hips are opening up. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Right? You feel how much those hips are really opening up aggressively
Yeah.
as you come through,
Sure.
right? Keeping that right shoulder down as we come through,
Yeah.
right? And that's really, if we have the ball in the right position, it's really going to help us launch that ball up into the air,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Good. And as we do this, we want to kind of do this probably 10, 15 minutes a night, get a feel for that, right?
Yeah.
And when we're out there on the range and stuff like this, we just need to hit like maybe 3 or 4 balls and try to, we're not trying to kill it, right? We're not there out playing, right? We're just trying to get a feel for it, but trying to get that feeling like there's some kind of device against my head, right? And as I come through, I really feel like my hips are opening up and rotating, and I'm kind of keeping my chest back behind it a little bit. Does that make sense? Instead of getting here like this, and then our attack angle gets dampened,
Yeah.
right? It's great for an iron or wedges, right? But it's not so good for the driver.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You ready to jump back in there, my man?
Yeah.
Any questions?
Nope.
All right. So let's just try to go with this. All right, I'm going to grab this little guy right here. Okay. And just give me a couple swings, and let's try to feel that what we're doing on the wall there. Okay. Okay. Good. Feel your hips rotating open. Feel your head feeling like it's back, falling back a little bit.
Yeah.
That's a feeling, yeah. Mm-hmm. Good. So now we should have the feeling, right, when I do this correctly, right, I should have the feeling like my shoulders are working in a very positive manner. This, right, and not this.
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be great for irons, as I said, but we really want to have those shoulders work in a positive manner with the driver.
Yeah.
Does that give you a good visual right there?
Yeah.
Let's see, where do we have Ortiz? Ortiz. Oh, here we go. I put him up here in a safe position. Okay. So let's just do, we're going to do 4 balls here. Okay. And we just want to try to get that feeling. Okay. How did you feel like you did there?
I think I did a little better on that one.
Okay.
So, yeah, to me, what it almost feels like for lack of a better thing, just what comes to my head
Mhm.
from my own, life experiences. It
Yeah.
almost feels like I'm doing a baseball swing, where it's, I don't know, when I was a kid, I played a lot of baseball. And so to me, it just, it's kind of that get back on your back foot and launch it.
Okay. Yeah, swing for the fences. Hit a homer up and over, right?
Yeah, like,
Right.
I don't know. That's just the way
Staying
it
back
feels to
behind
me.
the ball and launching up on it.
Yeah.
That's fine. But hey, whatever visually works for you or mentally works for you is perfect. Good. Our low point was just ever so slightly, not even really worth counting, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That's a big difference for us. Okay. And now the big thing I'm seeing here a little bit, spin was a little high, right? But we're starting to get our height back to a place where it can kind of cruise.
Yeah.
Right? At about 90 feet is about where we want. 90 to about 110 feet is ideally where we want to kind of be.
Okay.
Right? Right. Yeah. Good work. Right?
Yeah.
Good work. Right. Now once we start to get this movement pattern, we'll start working on, face angle and all that stuff. But really what we need to do is just get our body used to staying behind that ball, opening up those hips, and extending our hands through as we come through like we see Jay Rose.
Oh, I get the top of the ball.
Great job. Right? This is a good thing right here.
Yeah.
And as long as we've been working together, we've worked really hard on to get to that position. We have, Credit to you, my friend. Okay? Doing good. Good job. Okay? Get that baseball feel. That's the thing that kind of anchors your mind to it. Let's
Yeah.
stick with it, okay? Jumped on it a little bit there, right?
Yeah.
All right, we're just trying to go for that feel. Right? One more, and we'll take a break for just a sec. Okay. All right, feel like we got our head against that wall, right? Baseball swing, whatever kind of works best for you. There you go, good job. Good job. Let's take a look at that guy. Okay.
Still got a little bit of the sway there.
All right, but now let's look at our elbow here, right? Our
Yeah.
elbow's starting to get in that better position where it's starting to get a little bit away from the camera.
Yeah.
Okay, better. Arms are extended as we're coming through. Okay, not so much of a chicken wing,
Yeah.
right? You can still let those forearms rotate, right? As we see with Justin Rose.
Yeah.
That right arm is taking over that left arm
Yeah.
completely. All right, now you probably do that maybe just a little bit further through. Not really, no?
No.
Okay. I was giving you hope there, my friend, right? But we really kind of need to have that feeling when we get to about here or so, that left arm is really crossing over for us, right? And we can kind of see in the shot pattern it's going out to the right a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think once you kind of get a good understanding of getting those forearms to rotate a little bit more aggressively, we'll start to get it more in our target line that we're looking for, okay? But the big thing is, right, is making sure that we're staying behind that ball. Look how much more your hips have opened up and rotated now,
Yeah.
all right? We may be just a little bit back on it, but I'm okay with that right now. And that's probably part of this little slide that we kind of
Yeah.
get just a little
Right.
bit, right? So we've got to kind of work on that just a little bit. But the big thing is right now is that we're getting our low point behind the ball.
Yeah.
Okay, we're able to launch up on it. We're able to reduce some of the spin that we put on the ball, right? And now we'll be able to get carry. And the big thing is that it won't have so much side spin. It'll have more of a launch and staying on that direction.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions about what you see there, big guy?
Nope.
Okay. Got yourself a little water.
Yeah. You're out of my tea. But I probably drink too much tea anyway. I love unsweetened tea for whatever reason.
Unsweet, huh?
Yeah.
That's definitely more of a northern thing for sure.
Yeah, well, when I grew up, my aunt used to make that sweet tea.
The trash can's right over there in the corner. Yeah.
She used to brew hers like, boil
Mm-hmm.
her tea.
Yeah.
And man, it was really sweet. And as a kid, it's just like, ah.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it just somewhere around my teenage years, I just drank some unsweetened tea, and I'm like, yeah, you know what, I like this.
There you go.
Now, if I drink sweet tea, it's kind of like, oh man, this stuff's got too much sugar.
My mom, very, very southern lady, but she would do sun tea. So she would take the tea bags and put it
Yeah.
out in the yard and have the tea, and
Yeah.
that's all she drank.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't bottled water back then. I mean, we thought that was just the silliest thing. Now we all buy bottled water, right? But it was Kool-Aid and all that stuff. And all she drank was sun tea and no sugar in it.
Yeah.
Right? Which I was like, ugh. Once I started getting some sweet tea, I was like, whoo, this is good stuff.
Mhm.
Right? So,
Mhm.
but I just try to stick away from the tea a little bit. It gives me kidney stones. So.
Yeah, I like green tea most,
Okay.
but it's hard to find, especially unsweetened.
Yeah.
I used to buy it in these kind of things, and I was buying it, and then COVID hit, and it was gone, and they stopped making it. Now, though, you can get green tea, but it's got sugar, it's got ginseng, it's got all kinds of different stuff in it, you
Yeah.
know? And it's like, man, there's just no regular green tea. So I do like what you were saying. I do the sun tea, get a little glass, jar or
Mm-hmm.
container, and put it out in the sun for a day or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here in Florida, just a couple hours, that's all you need.
Yeah.
All right, big guy. So let's keep going with that idea, right? For you, it's an idea of a baseball swing,
Yeah.
okay? And just give me a practice swing here, kind of get that feeling, and really feel like our forms are rotating over, okay? Feel like those forms are really rotating over. There you go, right? Allow that right arm to take over that left arm as you come through. There you go. Okay. Good. Oh boy, I bet we could take a mess of those.
Yeah.
All right, good job. Good job right there. What do we do with the tea? Oh, there it is. Okay. One second, just wait to see. I did with one rotation. Oh, failed to record. Okay, perfect. Did it die? No. All right. Wasn't meant to be, I guess. Okay, low point starting to get a little bit ahead again.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do another one. There we go. Okay. Good job. All we want to see right now at this session is making sure that we're getting a B out of low point. All right, that's all we're really trying to focus on. Once you start to ingrain that form rotation through, as I said, we'll start to get that ball back on track. But really right now it's just about keeping that head behind, getting those hips to really open up as we come through. Okay. So hold on one sec. Move this back. We're getting it just a little bit too far up. Okay, there we go. So I want you to come back over here to the wall. Let's kind of get a feel for that. All right, so get your head up against the wall, right? All right, arms across your chest. Feel our hips really opening up and turning. There you go, good. Okay. All right, try to anchor into that feel. You really feel that weight going into that left heel as you come through,
Yeah.
right? All right, good. Maybe one or two more. Good job. Good job. Now come on over here and don't worry about the ball. Just kind of give yourself a feel for it. I'm going to get the old alignment rod here. Okay. Go ahead, set up on the big guy. Now we're not feeling any pain or any pinch anywhere in the lower back or anything. I just want to make sure I check on that. Okay, good.
Nothing more than normal.
I get you. All right. Good. So as you come on through here, let me just kind of help you just a little bit. You're doing good there with the swing. Come on through, come on through. As we come on through here, I feel like our arms. Right? So it almost feels like, you know, as a kid, they kind of would teach us, get the butt of the club going back down the target line. Right? For you, it's kind of like this.
Yeah.
Okay, so we want to have that feeling like the butt of the club is getting back down our target line as we come through. Okay? Mm-hmm. All right, you can definitely see that forearm starting to rotate over. Good. There you go. All right. And this may go back to what you're kind of telling me before, right? That you're really feeling tight and tense.
Yeah.
Right? We want to feel like we've got, you know, loose or soft forearms.
Yeah.
Right? That's going to allow those forearms to rotate more naturally
Yeah.
than if they're kind of.
I don't know why I've always had that issue, you know. Like I used to get calluses on my offhand, and my mom was always like, how the hell do you get these big calluses on your offhand? And I'm like, I don't know, they got the death grip, man.
So I mean, the big thing is when I talk about the grip, do you still feel it in the fingers and everything like that, not in the
Yeah.
palm?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
That's going to help with our release a little bit, right?
Okay.
Making sure that I have it more in the fingers instead of the palm, because in the palm I really got to grip with my forearms to control that club. But in the fingers I can have this kind of control it, and it lets my forearm, you know, ease up a little bit. All right. Good. All right. Good. One more for me. There we go. All right. Let's hit a couple balls here. Take a look at it. Okay. Any questions right now, Mike?
Nope.
Okay. All right, let's try to gain on that feeling like we had on the wall, okay? But that is part of the objective today,
Yeah.
right? A little bit. We don't want to be that too, well, you know, drop kicking it a little
Yeah.
bit, but we are getting behind the ball, which is good, okay?
Yep.
Okay. Rome wasn't built in a day, right?
Yeah.
Did you feel yourself go a little bit ahead?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
Swayed it a little bit.
Okay. Let's take a look. Get out of the frame, Tim. No. Still got to work on that form rotation a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, but you can definitely see that elbow's getting stuck back behind us again. Okay, let's see how we're doing on our takeaway if we're getting. So the hands might be getting a little bit too far back again. Okay, and as we come through. Good follow through though.
I was gonna say, at least I like the follow through.
Follow through looks real good. I mean, you're getting all the positions that Justin Rose is getting here with our feet and everything like that, which is really good. Okay.
Still swaying, but maybe not as bad.
No. You're still staying inside the box where we kind of see you going outside the box in
Yeah.
the earlier ones. Okay. Let's take a look at our ball position again, and just that might be creeping up or creeping back a little bit on us. Let's just see how that's looking. Okay. Get a better teeth. So what you got on tap for today?
Oh, life's got the crap I gotta do.
Oh, the honeydew
Landscaping.
list.
Yeah, well, as much as I've been traveling, then next week I gotta go to Russell Point, Ohio.
Sounds like a blast.
Yeah. Yeah, Honda manufacturer out there.
Tourist destination, right?
Yeah. Flying into Dayton.
Oh, even better.
Yeah.
Wonderful little town.
Yes, sir.
Splendid. Just kind of do this and kind of do this. Kind of get set up to where you kind of be by the ball, and I'll get your feet on in there. So we get this little rubber mat in there just a little bit. All right, good. Just as a frame of reference for us. All right, so that's where our left foot's going to be. Good. Good. I mean, you can, it's just a reference
Yeah.
point, right? And then I'm going to get the ball just a little bit. Here we go. Okay. Does that give you a good visual right there?
Yep.
Okay. Try that one more time. Right, so you don't have to get your toes right up to it. You just need it kind of as a frame of reference where we want to kind of put our feet.
Yep.
Okay. Let's slow it down just a bit. Okay. And kind of give you. So, want to kind of have that feeling like if I had that right here against your head.
Yep.
Right. We're going to kind of feel that feeling of turning it on the wall, right?
Didn't go nowhere.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Let's go ahead and okay, another one here. We're gonna I just want to take a look at the impact location on it, see where we're kind of hitting it at, just a little bit. I'm assuming that we're hitting it high on the face a little bit.
Yeah.
So I just want to kind of see. See if we can fix it up. Yeah, not enough light in here. But we're starting to get, it's still a little bit ahead.
A little bit ahead.
Okay. We can kind of live with that. Okay. We're still going to pick up a little bit more spin than what we want.
Yeah.
Okay. But the big thing is we can't be getting to 4, 5, and sometimes I've seen 6 or 7 out of you. Right. So just getting that worked out a little bit.
Yeah.
Put that there. All right. Why don't you give me about 2 or 3 more here, then I'll let you go be free in the world, my man. Sound good?
Yeah, thanks.
We'll talk about what drills we need to work on and stuff like that, okay? Set up for me real quick.
And you can see where I'm
Yeah.
kind of on the top.
Yeah. The big thing I'm kind of seeing, at least down the line, is that we're kind of starting to get these arms kind of tucked in a little
Still
bit.
tucked in, yeah.
All right, let me kind of take a look at him again. Okay. Arms are just getting a little too deep for us. Okay. Let me kind of do this. We kind of go here. Let's just take one down the line here and take a look at it. Okay. Any questions, big guy? Okay. The other thing we can see is that our club path is a little bit over the top,
Yeah.
right? So we want to have that feeling like we're swinging out towards that second baseman, right? That's going to help shallow our plane a little bit and get us in a good position. Okay. Just feel like we're swinging out towards that second baseman. There we go. All right, and letting those forearms rotate naturally. There you go. All right, let's go ahead and set up to that, please. Felt all out of source on that one, didn't you? It's okay. Let's just take a look down the line here, and then we're going to work on what we need to work on. So one thing I kind of see down the line here, right, is that as your hands go, you see how they're going across that line right there that I put?
Yeah.
Right? If we look at